How many people here have known someone with Alzheimer's disease or another form of dementia? My grandmother had dementia. And I can remember the devastation my grandfather, Jack, felt the day that she forgot who he was. A few years later, Jack started to see the same signs himself. And instead of going down that road again, he took his own life. We have a very large and very expensive problem on our hands. And there are no traditional drugs or therapies to stop the progression or reverse the disease. Did you know that 99.6% of Alzheimer's drug clinical trials end in failure, costing taxpayers $65 billion? Did you know that the numbers are expected to triple by the year 2050? Did you know that since the year 2000, deaths from heart disease have decreased by 9%, while deaths from Alzheimer's disease have increased by 145%? What if we could detect the underlying causes to Alzheimer's 20 to 30 years before symptoms presented themselves? What if we could treat each one of those underlying causes individually and effectively reverse the disease? And what if we could use lifestyle as a primary form of driving results? We can. It's what we do at Mios Health. See, our team helps people with Alzheimer's disease identify how their brain is functioning and why. And then we build a personalized program for them with everything that they need to get to the results that they want. Our physicians are functional medicine physicians, and they take a comprehensive overview of the health of the individual. We look at over 1,000 data points. And those data points, plus the brain imaging, is a far cry from the 20-minute pen and paper exam that your neurologist would give you. That usually comes with a, come back in 6 months so we can monitor you, or get your affairs in order. That 1,000 points allows us to develop a personalized plan. And that program is guided by those functional medicine doctors and a health coach every single week to help our clients get to the results that they want. Now, our clients use a proprietary technology platform that we have developed that gives them all of their daily activities, their education, their community engagement, and their progress tracking to let them know where they are in result to the goals that they want to get to. That platform allows us to have a centralized command station. Now, the research for the last 10 years is clear and compelling. Alzheimer's disease can be prevented and cognitive decline can be reversed through functional medicine and lifestyle programs. I've personally seen this working with dozens of clients, and I co-authored a paper in 2018 showing disease reversal in 100 patients. Our target market is the 7 million American baby boomers in the top 10% of wealth currently living with pre-Alzheimer's disease. And our programs are expensive, and they're not currently reimbursed by insurance. And although this will alienate a certain portion of the population for a few years, it gives us some very distinct advantages. One, people who invest in their health are considerably more likely to get long-lasting results. We don't have to let insurance dictate how we care for our clients. Clinical trials are slow and they're expensive, and they always seem to end in, we need more clinical trials. But the data we create from our client-fueled research will create more impactful data for the field faster, and we're going to use that data to create a mass market version of our product by 2022. We are the only technology-enabled pre-Alzheimer's solution in the marketplace right now. And instead of building another clinic, we decided to build the infrastructure to allow for centralized, standardized, and automated processes to be delivered through existing functional medicine practices. Potential partnership with thousands of them that are currently there, allowing the doctors to do what they do best, which is care for their clients. We handle everything else, which means higher profits for the doctors, less overhead and liability for us, better results for our clients. And our team has a strong history in both reversing cognitive decline and solving large problems at scale. We started We opened our doors in 2019 in December and have raised over $100,000 in revenue since then. We're looking to raise $1.5 million with 1.25 already raised, a lead investor identified, and we're looking to price and close around by the end of March. We're looking for angel investors to fill that remaining 250K. Thank you.
Thank you, Seth. You're a really good public speaker and pitcher. Really effective use of pauses. I think you ran out of time a little bit, but I think you do a really nice job pitching. The personal story tugged at the heartstrings. This room went silent. Everybody was completely engaged. Then you backed up the personal story with statistics. 99.6% end in failure. I would say within the first minute you had everybody's undivided attention in here, so that was great. So how much is it? You said it was expensive, but you didn't tell us how expensive. I understand your market is wealthy individuals and they're not dependent on reimbursement through insurance. But what does that mean? Is that a $1,000 plan or a $25,000 plan?
It's more than that.
Or more than that.
Yeah, so the initial assessment is $10,000. Then the program is anywhere from $3,500 to $7,000 per month for 6 months. Now, we understand there's going to be skeptics for that, so we actually offer a money-back guarantee on results for full participation.
Okay. You mentioned tech-enabled a couple times as a differentiator, especially on the chart where you had all the different players in the market. So it's tech-enabled. What does that mean? I'm sure it is a differentiator, but I'd like to know how it makes you different.
Sure, so tech-enabled, if you look at these companies up on the left, none of them have any technology to really do anything. So if they order labs, those labs come in randomly, they have to go through them in paper PDF format. Our initial assessment starts with 300 pages of data of 7 different laboratories, 2 different imaging centers. We brought all that together into one single report that is a dynamic report that works over time so we can track progress. Then we built a platform that allows our clients to connect through telemedicine with the doctors, with their coaches. All of their education lives on that. Data tracking, everybody wears an Oura ring, so we get to see their sleep data, their activity data, how their nutrition is impacting their health. And that allows us to manage multiple locations, multiple doctors, multiple health coaches, multiple groups and classes of clients, all under one standardized review.
Last question, what about regulatory approval?
So right now we are clear of all that because we don't take any insurance. We are offering a money-back guarantee, so there is no scare tactic of we're just taking people with memory issues money. And as we grow, we will see more regulatory issues. We have an incredible law firm that has been working with us for the last 9 months to make sure that we are squeaky clean.
Sounds good. Last point is, I like your last slide. You've already raised $1.25 million. You had $100,000 in revenue. Did I catch that? So that was a good way to end. It grabbed my attention that someone else out there finds this really interesting and has put over $1 million into your business, or is committing to put more than $1 million in your business.
It's already in.
Yeah, great.
Thanks. And that's $500,000 from VC, and the rest is industry insider angels who understand the problem, they understand our solution, and they can double down on the problem from that solution.
Sounds good.
So again, good style of presentation. I like the fact that you were deliberate in terms of not rushing, although you did run out of time. But again, it's awfully hard not to do with a 5-minute presentation. One of my, I have to admit, you threw out, and again, I love the personal story up front. It's why you're in this business, because you've experienced it with family members, right? That's always good. And again, for probably all the presentations we've seen, right, the most important thing from an investor point of view is the team, right?
Sure.
Who is the team and what knowledge are they bringing to the table? I mean, I'll go back to the prior presentation, right? He was in the garbage business, he understood the problem, and he developed a software platform. And I know here, you kind of ran out of time, so you had the slide up, but from an investor point of view, especially in the healthcare field, right? It's sort of like, okay, tell me who these people are and what expertise are they bringing to the table, especially if they're dispensing, effectively medical advice, right?
That's right. Yeah, so I managed a practice of 18 physicians and operators for 3 years and brought that practice from $900,000 in revenue a year to $3.5 million. At the same time, we worked with over 50 individuals with cognitive decline and saw a 90% success rate in reversing their disease process. My co-founder, Mark Osborne, who's here with us this morning, has spent 30 years solving very, very large problems for Fortune 100 companies. And he had an Alzheimer's prevention technology model for a couple years prior to us partnering together. Other co-founder, Mitch Stevko, he has been a strategic advisor for people at Airbnb, Google, Apple, has raised $5 billion in the consumer health and wellness fields, and is a neurolinguistic programming expert. And then our lead physician, Helen Messier, right there in the center, she was actually the chief medical officer of Biome and Human Longevity, Inc. for multiple years and decided to leave because of management issues.
Yeah. So again, great answer. I would have spent a little bit of more time on that, as you know, and I'm sure you would. Let's see. And you did the market landscape thing. The go-to-market strategy, right? Yes. So I have to admit, I got a little confused. Were you actually going out and targeting the patients themselves, or are you partnering? Are you targeting healthcare providers to bring them on board? So as a channel.
Both. Right now, in our early stages, we are relying on referrals from other functional medicine practitioners that are in our community. There is about 1,000 functional medicine providers. Does everybody know what functional medicine is, by the way? Okay, good. So functional medicine means you get to the root cause and you fix it, and your doctor spends 60 to 90 minutes with you and develops a plan. Conventional medicine means you spend that 60 to 90 minutes in the waiting room. Then you go in and you spend 7 minutes with your doctor, and they probably give you a drug to mask your symptoms. So there are 1,000 functional medicine practitioners that have been trained in reversing cognitive decline. Less than 10% of them are actively implementing this in clinical practice because there's too much complication with it. So that's why we've taken all of that back end off of those practitioners so they can just be doctors. We run the back end for them. Right now, those people are referring us patients that they can't handle and they can't be successful with. Down the road, we will be directly marketing to consumers like you would for a clinical trial, finding people who have the brain health specifics that we're looking for, and then bringing them into our program.
And I think I might have, spent a little more time on that, right? On the
Sure.
How do you take this from a very, very narrow, small? I'm going after the top, whatever percent it was, right? 1, 2, 5, 10%,
Yeah, 10%.
as opposed to how do I make this? This is a big societal problem, right? How do I actually tackle even more, right?
Right. And it's growing quickly.
Yeah.
So our mass market version, that'll be ready in 2022. That'll be education and coaching that you can do from the comfort of your own home. We'll be able to deliver the 70 million Americans who are currently living with pre-Alzheimer's disease.
And one other question, again, I think investors are going to ask this question, right? It begs the question, you're tapping kind of the non-insured piece, right, of people are willing to pay and have the means to pay. The question is, at some point, if you really get to mass market, at what point are you able to cross that threshold to actually get insurance coverage?
Yeah, so that's 2022. We'll be partnering with payers to deliver that model.
Okay.
Just like they do with some heart disease models right now through Medicare and AARP sponsored programs.
Okay.
Cool. Audience.
Yes.
Hey, I'm wondering a couple things. One, what happens to the cost?
Yes, it goes to a SaaS subscription model. It's going to be under $1,000 a year at that point.
And I'm assuming based on that price, everything is pretty much online, and I don't have as much direct content, but contact with a live person.
That's correct.
But it now makes you scalable, right?
Yeah, but we also have add-ons, so you can add on live coaching if you'd like. We will have virtual coaching using bots to hit you in the morning and say, make sure you don't pour that chocolate milk this morning, have a nice glass of water instead. But we will have live coaching add-ons, we'll have supplement add-ons, other affiliate products and services add-ons, and then we will be able to link you up with a doctor if you need that. So that's like Virta Health. Virta Health is doing this for diabetes. They just were valued over $500 million in their C round. And Virta has been very successful at doing this for reversal of diabetes type 2. They actually have a pay for results program when they work through payers. So if they don't lower HbA1c for diabetes by a certain number of points, they don't get paid.
Right.
We'll have the same type of model with our payers.
Okay, one more question. I know we're almost out of time here.
Yeah.
I think this was more on the market slide. So you mentioned
Sure.
roughly that upward 10% of wealth in the baby boomer generation. That's kind of your big market.
Yeah.
I would love to see that extrapolated out there in terms of like the Tam Sam song.
Sure.
How big? What is that worth in terms of the total amount of money that we get of that? What can we realistically get? And then finally, like, what's the realistic growth level for us? Obviously, as we shift into this one.
So right now, 5.7 million Americans with Alzheimer's disease are costing our country $290 billion. That number is expected to go to $1.1 trillion by 2050. Just for Alzheimer's disease, that will effectively bankrupt our entire healthcare system if we don't do something about this problem. 70 million Americans have pre-Alzheimer's disease, which means they have an underlying condition, a family history, or a genetic miscalculation, basically. And those are the individuals that we're going after. Right now, we can't help people who already have been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. So we don't actually know the market numbers because no one is trying to care for the people with pre-Alzheimer's disease right now, but they're big.